हाँ टाइम हो गया। अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मेरा नाम डॉक्टर बदर है और मैं एसोसिएट प्रोफेसर हूँ डिपार्टमेंट ऑर्थोपेडिक सर्जरी सिविल हॉस्पिटल। Today we will discuss pelvic fracture. As we know, being a fourth year student, to study around the pelvis and the fractures is a bit difficult. So my aim is always that I should be simple and you should take all the points from this lecture. And whatever you want to learn now. Try to get as much points as from this presentation. Because I know most of the residents are not interested in teach this, go and read this orthopedic surgery. So stay calm, listen, and in the end you should reply, because in the end I will show you few of this X-ray that will be important for you to recall. So how to read a normal pelvis X-ray? So everybody seeing this mouse, how to read this pelvis X-ray? Anybody know? So how will you read? First of all, we will start from the front. This is pubic symphysis, where superior pubic rami of the both sides get united or meet on an anterior aspect is called pubic symphysis. Once they go laterally, this is superior pubic rami, and below this is the inferior pubic rami, and this is ischium. And once you go upward, so this is acetabulum, and this is femoral head, and above this is the ilium, and this is sacroiliac joint. Once you go behind, you see these are the eyes. These eyes are indicative of sacral foramina. These eyes are indicative of sacral foramina. And go on opposite side, read the same way. Sacroiliac joint, iliac blade, hip joint, the acetabulum and femoral head, and this is superior pubic rami, inferior pubic rami, and ischium. So this is how you can read this X-ray. If you find something abnormal and you will go through systemic way and read this X-ray, you will unable to miss anything. So this is very important to go in a systemic way. If you haphazardly see an X-ray and say, this is a problem, definitely you will miss something. The first time is to read this X-ray in a simpler systemic way, so that you should learn one by one and you should not miss anything. Once you read this, there are some other important points we usually see whenever see the X-ray. We draw some lines. If you draw the line, number one, the superior part of superior pubic rami, go upward, go upward, go upward. This is anterior part of the acetabulum. And if you draw this line from the anterior part of this superior pubic rami and go laterally, and coming into the neck, so this line should be straight. Once there is a break, once there is a fracture, this line will be discontinuous somehow. So this will indicate of some neck fracture, maybe fracture of superior and inferior pubic rami. So these some lines are important as well. So pelvis is just like a suspension bridge. And suspension bridge, everybody knows that this is good view of the Turkish suspension bridge. So pelvis has two pillars, just like one pillar here, one pillar here. Same as the suspension bridge. One pillar here, one pillar here. So all this bridge is held with this wire. The same way, pelvis is held with these ligaments, just like a suspension bridge. See this. These are the ligaments which are holding these bones with each other. These posterior sacroiliac are the most important and the most strongest ligament in the pelvis. Then anterior, then sacrotuberous and sacrospinous, and symphysis. So these are basically the important ligaments that are holding the pelvic bone with each other, and that gives the pelvis the resemblance of same suspension bridge. The strongest and the most important of all these ligaments are the sacroiliac and iliolumbar ligaments. And these are supplemented by the sacrotuberous and sacrospinous ligaments, and ligaments of pelvis. So most important are posterior ligaments. And most of the weight of the spine is transmitted to the limb through the posterior side. 70% weight transmission from the spine to the pelvis to the lower limb is from the posterior side. So nature provides the posterior side the most strongly. So which structures are a risk? Because pelvis is a big area and most of the important organs lie in the pelvis. So once you have trauma, we must care about all these organs that might be damaged, get injured during the trauma. So major branches of common iliac arteries, pelvic veins. The most common bleeding in pelvic trauma is from pelvic veins, not from the major common arteries. And the nerves of the lumbar and sacral plexus, the bladder, the most common organ to be damaged is the thyroid or urethra. Then prostate, then membranous urethra, and rectum, and another. So these are the most, and female, definitely uterus. These are all organs are lying in the pelvis and must be cared when there is an injury to the pelvic organs. So fracture of the pelvis should be suspected in every patient with serious abdominal and lower limb injury. There may be a history of road traffic accident or a fall from height or a crash. So whenever you see this patient come in your emergency and have suspicious of pelvic trauma, or you see some pelvic trauma injury in emergency, always follow the ATLS protocol. So ATLS A is airway with cervical spine stabilization, breathing, then circulation, then disability and exposure. So how we see airway? Just talk to the patient, ask the name. If the patient can talk, it means his airway is clear. Until you clear all these injuries, put the cervical collar straight away and assume this patient is having cervical spinal injury until prove otherwise. Second, check the breathing pattern of the patient. If there's no other extra sound through the nose or mouth or any difficulty in breathing, so breathing will be clear. Examine the chest, look at how he is breathing normal or he has some problem in the chest. Check for bruises around the chest as well. For circulation, check pulse, blood pressure. So pulse will indicate of which type of shock patient develop. So there are basically 4 types of shock in hemorrhage trauma, pelvic trauma due to hemorrhage. So how will you assess? So check the pulse and blood pressure. So drop in the blood pressure, increase in the pulse rate, indicative of shock. More than 20 pulse, around 140, it's suspicious of grade 3 shock. And blood pressure less than 90 degree, you must assume that this patient is having grade 3 shock. So how will you treat? Just put 2 IV large cannulas and then start transfusing 1 billet, 1 crystallite, 1 colloid. Check for the limbs, check the position of the limbs, either they are in deformed position. So correct that with some slab, and in the end you expose the patient throughout from head to toe, from front and from the lateral, and document all the injuries in the last. So this is the key. Whenever you see the patient with pelvic trauma, follow the ATLS protocol and follow all these principles. Once you follow these, there are less chances of injury that should be missed. So try to avoid missing the injuries in first instance, because once missed, everything in the till the last will be missed as well. So look at this abdomen and external genitalia. Whenever the pelvic trauma is there, always suspicion of scrotal hematoma, because this blood comes when the urethra get ruptured, blood comes into this scrotum. And always check the blood at the meter. If you find there the blood at the meter, don't put the catheter, because if you put the catheter inside, you will convert the incomplete urethra rupture with the complete. So this is important, and must understand that we should prevent further damage to the urethral structure. So examine all this: abdomen, genitalia, perineum, parectal examination to sort out the rectal injuries. So once you find bleeding at the meatus, don't put catheter. You can do suprapubic catheterization, but don't attempt. No attempt should be made to pass a catheter. This would convert a partial to complete tear of the urethra. So in the end, you pass suprapubic catheter and do the retrograde urethrograft, and that will guide you if there any injury in the urethra that comes into that clearly. And later on, urologists will do the rest of this treatment with the related to the urethra. So see, once patient is unable to pass the urine, so you should keep in mind what is the problem. Either this having bladder injury, so urine get leaked into the peritoneum. Either that injury in the urethra, so urine can be leaked into the scrotal area. So this should be clear. Either there is a trauma to both these areas, so urine doesn't come out. So this is a key that will give you how much urine patient is taking. So this is the key. Once there is no urine, so you should suspicious of bladder rupture, so urine get leaking into the abdominal side. So why patient die because of pelvic fracture? This is important. The bleeding is the only reason in emergency. That's why patient died due to the pelvic fracture. Bleeding is the most common reason for death in this. So throughout the world, in the best centers around the world, there is 3/1 chance of death with the pelvic trauma. So every third patient with pelvic trauma, extensive pelvic trauma, died because of massive bleeding or secondary complication. So this is an aphorism related to the pelvic bleeding. So whenever you see a suspicious of patient in a shock and a trauma, you should remember this aphorism that one up onto the floor and 4 more spaces. Means somebody got open trauma, so blood will leak onto the floor, and you have to look other 4 more spaces that may contain the blood, like thorax, abdomen, pelvis, and the limb, closed limb injury. So one on the floor means open injury. 4 more closed spaces means you have chest, abdomen, pelvis, and closed fractures. So hemorrhaging fracture of the pelvis becomes a life-threatening injury. So clearly remember, because space around the pelvis is big. Once the space get open, injury to the pelvis occurs, the space becomes more and more. So it can accommodate our total body blood. That accounts our 5 liters. We have total 5 liters of blood, but once we have injury, we can last up to the 5 liters as well. So, say for example, somebody is doing the examination first, and he is the first doctor who examined that patient. He must document everything and take some important radiograph that he want to show his colleague or senior or the person who will visit within a few minutes. Because repeatedly examination will create some pain to the patient. It will create some other problems. It will create more injury to the limbs once you have trauma and open fracture, and you remove the dressing, again cause some trauma to the limb as well. So one should examine and he should document everything so that nobody should come and repeat the exam. This is another principle. So how to control the bleeding? So once you're able to control the bleeding, it means you will be able to save the life of the patient. So the immediate management of pelvic fracture resulting in shock is to control the bleeding and restore the volume. Control the bleeding and restore the volume. Related to the restoration of the volume, we mentioned in the first few slides that we need to control the circulation. See the circulation. We need to control. We need to put 2 large IV bore cannulas. 2 large IV bore cannulas mean either 16 or 20 or 16 or 14. So 60, if you apply large 16 bore cannula, we can transfuse fluid or blood at the rate of 180 ml per minute. Say for example, 1 liter Ringolex we can give 180 ml per minute. So we can transfer within 6 minutes 1 liter of blood. So if the patient is in shock and he has injury and is unable to maintain the pressure and we want to restore the volume, we can give fluid of 1 liter within 6 minutes. So we can put other cannula on the other side. It means within 6 minutes we can give 2 liters. So principle is 1 crystallite, 1 colloid, 1 billet. So that will normalize the condition of the patient. Once you gave the patient around 4-5 liters of fluid, blood and MSL and patient doesn't respond, it means the bleeding is ongoing and you need to intervene and stop the bleeding in a surgical or other way. So what are the other methods how to control the bleeding? So same IV lines, 2 large IV ball cannulas, we can fluids and blood. And simultaneously you need to put the binder, pelvic binder along the iliac crest. Not along the iliac crest, but at the level of greater trochanter. If you apply this pelvic binder just over the pelvis, it doesn't provide the compression of the pelvis. But if you apply the binder around the greater trochanter, it will close the pelvic wound. So the bleeding from the veins becomes closed, and due to the pressure, hematoma become organized and clot get formed. So bleeding will stop. So this is the simpler method you can do in emergency. But key with this binder is you can apply only for 1 hour, and then you need to convert into the fixator application. Say for example, you applied this and now you want to fix the bone. So what you need to do, you need to put some fixators. You can put C-clamp. See, this is C, the C-clamp that will close the posterior part of the pelvis. And other fixator from anterior side that also closes the anterior side. So second method, one method is binder, one method is resuscitation, number 2 is binder, number 3 is fixator. Number 4, patient doesn't respond. So see, this is another fixator anteriorly and posteriorly some screws placed. Here posteriorly this fixator was applied. And if the patient bleeds and doesn't control, so then you have other options of doing pelvic packing or angioembolization. Angioembolization means you need to put the catheter localized from where the bleeding comes, and you need to stop that through this putting some material into the vessels and stop the bleeding. So there are basically 5 methods of managing the bleeding in the pelvis. Number 1, IV large bore cannula, resuscitate. Number 2, apply the binder. Number 3, apply the fixator anteriorly and posteriorly. Number 4, you can apply the pelvic packing. And number 6, angioembolization. There are 6 methods to stop the bleeding in the pelvic fractures. Now see again same X-ray. What I have shown in the first, how to read an X-ray pelvis. So this is an AP view, anterior posterior view. To start from the pubic symphysis, superior pubic rami, inferior pubic rami, and ischium. And this is acetabulum with the femoral head, iliac blade, sacroiliac joint. And look at these eyes which are indicating of sacral foramina. And then opposite sacroiliac joint, iliac blade, femoral head and acetabulum, superior pubic rami, inferior pubic ischium. Binder is basically you need to take a sheet. Sorry. You need to take a sheet or bed sheet and you apply the sheet around the greater trochanters. If you apply the greater and close with the knot, say for see this knot is there. If you close this So room on the pelvis will close. So that will close the entry aspect of the pelvis and decreases the chance of bleeding in the pelvis. So we can put this binder around 45 minutes to 1 hour. Two large IV bore cannulas means if you put a 60, yes, first IV line, then restore the blood crystallite and colloid. Then you can start with fixator application. After fixator application, we will can use if the blood is still coming out and patient is not stabilized with the fixator application. Then we will do pelvic packing and then angioembolization. So these are the methods of stopping the bleeding in pelvic trauma. So first X-ray we will do is the AP view. And then see AP view means patient is lying straight and this film is straight away in line with this pelvis. And that will show the pelvis X-ray AP view. And this is inlet view. Now see this X-ray machine is from 45 degree from the foot side. So that will give you inlet of this pelvis. So there see same this. See this is the pelvis. This line, this is indicating of a line that is separating the true and false pelvis. But see this is superior pubic rami, superior pubic rami. Now inferior pubic rami get overlapped in this view. But iliac blades and sacrum becomes more clear along with the hip joint. Now see this is outlet view. From outside this machine goes up and from above down this pelvis is taking this pelvic view. See this foramina becomes even more clearer and obturator foramina becomes more clearer. So obturator foramina, superior and inferior pubic rami becomes more clear with outlet X-ray. Pelvic packing, angioembolization and angioembolization. Yes, exactly. Yes, clear. So this is an outlet view. Now see, if you find something wrong, we will do after all these X-ray CT scan. Now see, this is an axial view CT scan. How will you differentiate CT scan from MRI? Because CT scan will show bone more whiter, while in MRI this bone looks gray. So whenever you see X-ray in your hand, try to decide either there's a problem, the CT scan or MRI. If you see the bone becomes more whiter, it means it is indicative of CT scan. So this is axial CT scan showing both the sacroiliac joint, both the sacrum, and both the iliac blades. And then last we do CT scan. So recently everybody is doing 3D CT scan as well to see the exact configuration of the fractures. So once in a place, the pelvic compression devices should not be removed until surgical intervention removed. Say for example, you apply the pelvic binder, so don't remove till you will do some surgical intervention. Means you need to apply fixator, don't remove the pelvic binder. And if you apply the fixator, don't remove it until you do the definitive fixation with the plate or a screw. So angiography have enabled embolization that can control the bleeding in fracture pelvis. So these are methods we discussed previously. So whenever you see the fracture, you need to decide which type of fracture it is, which type of injury it is. So it's very easy. If you see these slides, you will be able to identify which type of injury mechanism is this. Say for example, somebody is standing from the front and something hit from the front. So it will create injury from anterior to posterior. So that is called anterior-posterior compression injury. Say for example, somebody is standing straight and some bike comes and vehicle comes from the lateral side hit. So that is called lateral compression injury. And third one is vertical shear, when the patient falls from height down to the ground and limb will move upward. So that is vertical shear injury. And fourth one is combination of all these. When there's extensive trauma, we can't decide how the mechanism is. So that is combination of all these injuries. So we have 4 mechanisms of injury. That is Younger Burgess classification, he is an USA-based surgeon, and he made this classification according to the mechanism of injury. So anterior posterior compression, lateral compression, vertical shear, and combination of all these. So how we can see an X-ray which type of injury it is. So number one is anterior posterior compression. So frontal colon means injury right from the front between the pedestrian and the car, or any bike or anything that hit directly to the pelvis is basically anterior posterior compression injury. In these injuries, the pubic rami are fractured, or innominate bone is another name for iliac bone, are sprung apart as pelvis get open up and all rotated. The pubic symphysis get disrupted, and this is called open book injury. This is called open book injury. I will show you. The anterior sacroiliac ligaments are strained and may be tear, and there may be few fracture of some part of the ilium. Say for example, see this. If somebody get hit anteriorly, so what will happen? This pubic symphysis get open up, and this pelvis get move apart here. This move apart. So anterior sacroiliac joint ligament, sacroiliac sacrotibial ligament get tear. So this pelvis opened up. So once the pelvis opened up, the venous bleeding becomes too much, and there's no room to control that area. So you need to close this area. So this is called anterior posterior compression injury. Number two is lateral compression injury. So when somebody gets injured from side to side of the pelvis, causes the ring to buckle and break. Now, due to a side on impact in a road accident or fall from height. So in these injuries, you have pubic rami of one or both sides are fractured. And posteriorly, there is severe sacroiliac ligament strain or fracture of sacrum or ilium. If the sacroiliac injury is displaced, the pelvis is unstable. So see, this is remember again. First thing I told, the posterior ligaments are the strongest ligaments in the pelvis, and hold the 70% of the body weight is transmitted from the spine to the pelvis is from the posterior side, only 30 through the pubic anteriorly. So very important to stabilize the posterior aspect first. So see, somebody got injured from lateral side. So see, somebody iliac blade fracture, superior inferior pubic rami fracture, and if the injury is severe, is going on, so it will fracture the superior and inferior pubic rami of the opposite side and externally rotate the other side of the pelvis. So depend upon the force. If the force is smaller, it's only to break from the lateral side to the iliac blade and superior and inferior pubic rami. So this is called lateral compression injury. And third one is the vertical chair injury. It's typically when someone falls from height onto one leg. So the innominate bone means iliac bone of one side is displaced vertically and fracturing the pubic rami and disrupting the sacroiliac joint of the same side. So these are usually severe, unstable injuries. So whenever you see these injuries, assume this patient is in trouble and needs your urgent help, because all the ligaments related to this one side of the pelvis get damaged and it lead to the retroperitoneal bleeding as well. So see this. This sacroiliac joint is open, but see this pelvis is move upward. Right from here, see this one side of the pelvis moves upward. So this is called vertical shear. Now, just repeat again. So we have three types of injury. Anterior posterior compression, where we have open book injury. Lateral compression injury, we have iliac blade and superior and pubic rami injuries, one side and other side. And vertical chair injuries, where one side of the pelvis moves vertically towards the abdomen or the pelvis, towards the spine. So three types. And combination of all these, when we see some X-ray with combination of all these, so this will call combined injuries of the pelvis. So see, this is an X-ray, pelvis, AP view. So if you see in the AP view X-ray, see this pelvis is lying same way. Superior pubic rami okay, inferior pubic rami okay, ischium is fine, acerabellum fine, This half of this blade looking is normal, sacroiliac normal. This is not clear. You can see there's some haziness all along this abdomen, scrotum. This might be some blood or fluid collection into the pelvis. But see, the distance between superior and inferior pubic rami is the wider part, and this pelvis is open on this external rotator. So this is simple open book injury. That's good. So this is basically the message. If you take these points, you will learn the simpler thing. Number 2, see this an X-ray. So we have again increase in the wide space of the pubic emphasis. This suppose left side, see the superior pubic rami okay, inferior pubic okay, ischium fine, SW normal, iliac blade okay, this sacroiliac joint normal. See the sacrum is okay, but here if you see this, there's a big gap between the sacrum and the iliac blade. You see this difference. So this is indicative of APC with combined vertical shear. So maybe combined, maybe vertical shear. Okay. As the brother. First was anterior posterior compression, and this one is vertical shear. That's good. Absolutely right. And see this another X-ray. This AP view showing the see this superior pubic rami, see this break here. So this and some pieces there. So one piece with the superior pubic, this is showing comminuted fracture. See this some break here as well. So inferior pubic rami also fracture. Ischium okay, acetabulum femoral head fine, iliac blade okay, sacroiliac joint fine, sacrum okay, other sacroiliac joint normal, and iliac blade okay, acetabulum okay. But see again superior pubic rami fracture, inferior pubic rami. See one piece more, two pieces. So more than 3 pieces. So we have both superior and inferior pubic rami fracture comminuted. So this is indicative of lateral compression. That's good. That's good. So see all these injuries we can see in a simple X-ray and we can assume which. So what do you think? Which injury is severe? This one? Okay. This is one injury because this room get open up. So more blood will be collected and the patient is in danger. This injury is again more dangerous because this going pelvis upward and this room is open as well. And more chances of retroperitoneal bleeding with vertical shear injury. So both these injuries are severe. But see these injuries are not that severe to cause bleeding, but these injuries are injuries where these spikes of these fractures are sharp, so they can damage to the bladder, they can injure to the urethra. So see this again, the question number last and fourth and last. See this. This is 3D CT scan basically. Not that clear, but this is 3D CT scan. Now see this. Some opening in the pubic symphysis. Then there's a fracture in the superior pubic rami. Then there's a fracture in the inferior pubic rami. Go upward, and then there's a sacroiliac joint disruption and this iliac blade fracture. Comes on other side, see other side of this pelvis is also fractured, and comes here there's some superior pubic rami fracture as well. So this is again yes, mixed injury. That's excellent. So these are absolutely excellent. So you picked it that this might having combined injury. So this can be fixed with all this plating everywhere, and you can get the fixation done with this all these fracture. So this is we can fix it with open reduction and internal fixation with plating. So any question you want to ask, you can ask. So see, you got the message. The pelvic trauma, the emergency that should be managed appropriately and timely. If you resuscitate appropriately, stop the bleeding, patient can be saved. If you are unable to do it, it will be very difficult to save the life of the patient. Yes, any question you can ask. I hope this was simple and easily understandable. And this is how we can manage the pelvic fractures. I hope everything you have understood. Surgical method, one we read about this external fixation, and other is open reduction and internal fixation with plating. These are basically plates. These are basically plates. And these are isolated iliosacral screws we put in posterior iliosacrum. So first we put plates or screws. Any question you have, you can ask now. My aim is only to give you a good idea related to this basic problems. And if you listen it carefully, I don't think so there's too much go and read for the posterior MBBS. If you remember these methods, you will get all the questions in your MCQs and your ASCII. So they can be solvable with these simpler lectures. Just go in a single read with this and hope you will understand the simpler. In ATLS protocol, we used to follow the airway with the cervical spine stabilization and airway. If you talk with the patient, if the patient is able to talk, it means airway clear. And you should assume the cervical spine problem until you got this X-ray. Then you check for the breathing and then circulation, then deformity or disability of the limbs, and then expose from the tip to the head. Aphorism was in the pelvis. One blood on the floor means somebody got open injury, means blood lost on the floor means lost externally. And there are the four other spaces in the body that might have hidden trauma or bleeding. So that four sides are thorax, uh, abdomen, pelvis, and the long bone fracture, closed long bone fracture. I hope everything is clear and you got my message. And if you have any question, you can ask now. Thank you very much. I hope everybody enjoyed the simple lecture. Thank you very much. Again, aphorism. So one onto the floor, four more space. This is basically the aphorism for the bleeding in the pelvis. Because we don't suspect the patient is having bleeding all around the pelvis. Thank you very much. Hope all of you enjoy.